Awesome. Well, we'll give everybody to start a minute to start funneling in. And but the whole point of this is for this to be a really interactive demo and show you guys all of the efficiencies that are coming your way. So, all right, and we have Miss Jenny. Hi, how are you?
I am doing well. Can everyone hear me okay?
I can hear you. So
Yay!
I'm so excited. So we're gonna talk about ignition,
Mhm.
which I we were talking yesterday, and I was just getting so like jazzed up on our call about the possibilities here. So we've talked a
Yes.
lot with our other presenters today about time savings and
Mhm.
communication and efficiency. And I know that I don't need to tee you up for any of that because you're just gonna cover it all. But just a really quick reminder to pull up your polling questions or ask Matt to pull up your polling questions whenever you're ready because we're going to get excited and we're going to forget all about it because we're just going to be excited. So,
Yes, it was quite an engaging chat yesterday, and I am one for puns, so notice the engagement reference as we are Ignition and handle engagements and proposals. But yes, everyone's so excited to be here. I'm just going to put my LinkedIn because I just love connecting with people on LinkedIn and just
awesome.
brainstorming ideas. And, Christine, as a practice owner myself, I feel like we learn best from each other,
Yes.
or we learn from what to avoid from what others have done.
Yeah, we talked a little bit yesterday about the things that we are now trying to avoid,
Yes.
which is I think so beautiful. And I know you're going to talk
Mhm.
about it because Ignition really did a really beautiful job of building some of those what to avoid things
Yes.
into the software that Ignition offers.
Exactly. And just full disclosure to everyone, I am not in sales, so I'm going to be the worst salesperson for you. I'm a practice owner. I am a customer of Ignition. I still pay for the product. I run the pro plan, even though now I'm working with Ignition in a partnerships capacity. So I get to hang out with awesome people like Christine and our folks at Intuit that you just saw. I work quite closely with the Intuit team as well. And if you're wondering what that accent is, it is Canadian. I'll try and disguise it as much as possible.
I love
Okay.
it.
Well, I know we have a limited amount of time today, and I also know that I am, probably what's coming between you and your afternoon break. So I'm going to be really cognitive of your time. I'm a super chatty, fun, and engaging person. So I'd love for you to use the chat if you want to do that. Feel free to interrupt me if there's questions. This is about you and just letting you know what ignition is. So, to position what Ignition is Ignition enables accounting and professional businesses to reclaim time, profitability, and cash flow by leveraging automating proposals, billing, payments, and workflows. So, like, what the heck does that mean? Really, what we do is we create that proposal process and that payments process, and there's a whole lot of goodness in between that. So, I'd love for everyone here to join me and one of the 7,500 of the smartest businesses that run on Ignition. So, I've been leveraging it since 2016. And if I do my job properly today, maybe Christine will be leveraging it effectively as well. But anywho, I'm not going to like I said, I'm terrible at sales. So I do have a polling question, and this is just mainly for my own selfish reasons to understand where everyone is at with understanding what ignition is, because I can go into so many different directions on this topic I love. So what do you know about ignition? If you wouldn't mind answering that, and I'll kind of like pop through a couple of the other slides while that's noodling there. And Christine, feel free to let me know when those results feel like they're in a good spot for you to let us know.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
while that's populating, I'll share this one slide. So, like I said, Ignition really front ends that client experience. So, as accounting professionals, we have that letter engagement that needs to be signed. And probably so many of you, similar to what I was doing, is you're leveraging Word and it's taking forever and it's not romantic at all. So, I'm just looking at this. Some are using Ignition. Yay! First time hearing about it. A little here. Okay, so I totally know how to handle this. Thank you so much, Christine. You're amazing.
Perfect.
So, like I said, like we front end that client experience. Like we can't just come at them with the letter of engagement and go like, wow. I used to do that, and the clients would be like, what is this? or they'll
Why
just
is
sign
it
it, not
so long? Or they won't
right?
read
And
it.
it's
We talked
like,
about they don't read it.
oh my gosh, they don't. And so like, and of course, some of us with our errors and omissions carrier, our, LOEs could be like 17 pages long, right?
Yeah.
So, there's some good nighttime reading going on there. Um, so when we give that to the client as like our proposal, like it doesn't make it romantic at all. So we really use an innovative technology to, let the customer prospect know exactly what we're doing, what our value is. We use different mediums as well, like video and brochure. I'm going to show you all this, don't worry. And we can easily put up a payment wall, which basically means we are not doing any work for you until you put in your credit card information or your ACH information. Like the biggest thing I promote with my friends, my peers, is like stop the bleeding, start getting
Yeah.
paid. Like, what do you think, Christine? Like, this is just
I
so.
100%
Oof.
agree. And
Mm,
we transitioned our practice a couple years ago. You and I talked about this
mhm,
to transition to payment upfront.
mhm.
But no matter where you are on the call, if that's not you yet and you're looking to try to transition that, because I know that can be scary, or like I don't want to freak out my clients that we're changing the pay structure. It's so important for cash flow, especially for tax practices, because if you don't take the time to look at that, your cash flow is already squeezed into such a short period of the
Yeah.
year. To not get paid on things is just going to make the situation
Uh, it
worse.
it does, right? And like I was speaking, I think this is my third webinar today, and it's like it's all the same theme. Everyone's feeling the
Yeah,
same pain. Like let's face it, everyone, like we are so kind-hearted as accounting professionals. Like we will sacrifice our own well-being of getting paid just to get the work done. And you
yeah,
can't really tell me otherwise. Maybe I am a little egotistic for a Canadian, which is strange, but like this is like, I know that that's where we're at. And so it's okay to get paid. Like, I don't
yes,
go to McDonald's. I shouldn't say that because I actually don't like going to McDonald's, but like, I have to pay for that meal before I sit down, right? Or like, if I'm going to Starbucks and I upgrade to a venti, I know that there's an additional cost for that. They've
yeah,
articulated their value really well to me, where I'm trained to go, okay, if I want to upsize, I know there's an extra 80 cents, a dollar, depending on what it is. So what I'd like to really embrace everyone today is like, let's just get like super simple. Like I'm showing you this flywheel and you're like, woo. Let's just keep it like really simple. Like going into tax season, if there's one thing you could like start doing or stop doing, depending on which way you look at it, is like start getting paid. So like that's one thing you can implement with Ignition right now before tax season to like articulate that letter of engagement, right? And get paid. Like Dawn Brolin, I've been helping her for a couple of years now. And so now last year was her first year she did her full scope tax business, her book of business on Ignition. And she was sending me text messages like, "Hey Jenny, collected I'm up to 20,000 now, 40,000, 60,000, 80,000 before tax season started." And she doesn't mind me
amen.
sharing all this, right?
Mhm.
Like
Yeah,
the money was in the bank and
yes.
it wasn't even tax season yet.
Which is amazing, because as
Yeah.
practitioners, once we get into the middle of tax season, like I don't have time to stop what I'm doing and worry about whether or not John Smith paid for his tax return. We're so hyper focused on just get the returns out the door.
Oh my goodness. It's a volume thing, right? Like we're barely eating and sleeping and probably guzzling
Yes.
back Red Bull or coffee. Like let's just use automation and technology to do that. And honestly, in
Yes.
my firm, which is more details, I leverage technology before people. Now, some people are like, "Ooh, that's really cool, Jenny." I'm like, "No, it's not." Because what I do is I'm leveraging technology to do the stuff that's like low-hanging fruit. And then the
Yes.
people we have are our superheroes. I don't want them being muddled down to doing like data entry or punching in credit card information or no.
Or accounts receivable collection, because nobody wants to do that to begin with.
Forget it, especially because 'cause we're so nice, right?
Yes.
Like, okay, and spoiler, and I might get my hand slapped for this. So we are accelerating this product is moving so fast in so many different directions. But like right now, some of you are probably sitting on a pretty big balance sheet item called accounts receivable. And I bet you there's a couple of columns, 30, 60, 90, and probably more around the 90 days that are happening. Within products, I think it's around quarter 1, if not sooner, we'll have the ability to like help you collect on that. Cause I know you find that awkward. I totally know you do, but we'll
Yeah.
have that functionality coming in. But let's bring it like back down to basics. Let's get you paid. Okay. So out of everything here that you see, yes, we sync to QuickBooks Online. You heard from our friends at Pro Connect, right? You heard Kevin. I work closely with the team. So we have an amazing Pro Connect integration, and it's not a Zap and it's not a quasi integration. It is a true relationship with Intuit. And we're about to launch our second enhancement of that, which is really exciting. So what this does is it syncs all your Pro Connect suite, if you will, to Ignition. So we can handle the engagements and the payments for you. And then we're pushing all of that to QuickBooks Online to auto reconcile. So all that
Love it.
stuff that takes time where you're like, I know I need money in the bank because I got to buy groceries or pay myself or pay the staff or whatever. We're just going to do that for you. And
I love it.
I can't hire a bookkeeper for what I pay for this. It's like,
So
so,
true. So
right?
true.
And then the idea is down the road, like, hey, let's fix the problem now, but like down the road, let's really talk about those workflows and all those fun things. Christine, everyone was probably talking about earlier today. Sorry, I couldn't get on earlier, but like if you want to implement Carbon or use some sort of Zap to a CRM, then do that. But like stop it now and like take time now to make those changes. So I'm just gonna check in with the chat. Oh, you guys are shy. Am I scaring you? Oh my
I
gosh.
think
Oh, that's
I think they're
terrible.
like me. They're like so enthralled with like this is already just
Oh
so
my
amazing.
goodness. Don't be like that. Ask me questions because believe me, I've failed a lot. Which is actually a fun fact why I started using Ignition in 2016 because I lost a pretty big scope of work with a client because I leveraged Word. Believe it or not. Long story, different day, different webinar. So I like to say the smartest businesses run on Ignition. And this is because we are an app that's been around for 10 years. We are not the new kid on the block. We've been around for 10 years. We have some good social proof in all, like it's a global product. We have many users, like I said, over 7,500 and growing rapidly, and will be growing rapidly even more into 2025 as we're finding more and more of our accounting friends are recommending it to their professional services customers. So if you think like I myself deal with a lot of like professional agencies or IT consultants, them using Ignition. Think of how much easier that is for me as an accounting pro. So lots
Yeah.
of fun things on the horizon. But on average, what we see with the accounting side is that within 12 months, users are able to increase their revenue by 24%.
It's a
Let us,
huge margin in 12
yeah,
months.
you all are into numbers. I know you're thinking about that and going, how?
Well, and I don't know if you know the exact statistic, but I want to speak into this because we
Yeah.
talked about this yesterday. There is
Mhm.
a, I'm assuming a big portion of that that is actually just found profit
Yeah.
from things that we were probably
Yep.
doing anyways and not
Yep.
charging for.
100%, Christine. We all do that. I have been guilty of it too, where it's like, oh, it's going to cost me more to write up the invoice and do the process than charging them. So I'm not going to charge
Or
them.
we're afraid to send the engagement letter, afraid to
Oh,
have the conversation about the fact that this is out of scope.
yeah. We make it less awkward.
I love it. I love
We make
it.
it easy. And believe it or not, your clients do want to pay you. They
Yeah.
they actually do. I'll go toe to toe with anyone. We are the ones making it awkward, right? Because we're just normally that's what it is. Now, that's what I like to say is with Ignition is we are a revenue generating app. Not many apps can say that. And that's the proof in the pudding. We wrangle scope creep. Scope creep, what your clients are asking you to do outside of what you originally agreed to do, right? We wrangle that. And will you get that day one? Probably not. No, but you'll get paid day one. But then you'll work with our team who do care about you and build out that ecosystem of apps so that you start knowing when scope creep is coming up. And then you can train your team and then you can create scripts around it. And we have the tools. Okay.
I
All you
love
need
that.
to do is just start with one thing and let's just start with getting paid. So, like I said, every app should save you time. No big surprise. 18 hours a week. A week.
That's a like a huge amount, a huge
Mhm.
amount.
Mhm. It is. And when you think about tax time, like it really is crunching. I was on this one Intuit webinar and it was like a Zoomy thing, kind of like this too, right? And this lady was like doing all of this and I could see she's printing and like licking an envelope. I'm like, what are you doing? Oh, I'm getting my engagement letters out.
Oh
Like,
no,
stop what you're
stop
doing
it.
right now. First of all, those envelopes are disgusting.
I
And
remember the
right?
day that I was mailing our engagement letters, and I'm
Uh-huh.
so thankful that we don't do that anymore, but, like, even a lot
There's
of
so
the
many of us do.
there's
And
so
it's okay.
many electronic engagement
Yeah.
softwares out there that are just as time consuming to try to put together an electronic proposal.
Exactly. And like, if you love anything, love the environment, I guess. I don't know. Like just please like
Stop
like
mailing
love your
them.
yeah, exactly. It's like just stop printing. Just stop. So there's so many things I want to get into, but let's just like, pop the hood here. I'm going to
Yeah.
take you through. Can everyone see my screen okay? Let me just like bump this up a little bit. Just ooh, that might get a little too much. Um Okay. So this is what's happened here. Okay. So Jenny, that's me, is getting a proposal from Growth Accounting. So what this is I'm needing my tax return done. And Growth Accounting, which let's say is Christine, she has sent me this proposal. Now, this is like a magic link. It's not gated. Like it's not some weird portal that they're like, what's my password? And they're sending you 5 different things to just try and get to the proposal. No, simple. It's a magic link. They go right to it. If Christine was like really, really groovy on the Zoom call, she would send me in the chat, she would send me this link and we would go through it together. I've closed deals that way too.
Wow.
And then or text them because like all of my like tradespeople are on these phones all the time. Trying to get them in front of a computer is hilarious. So you can like share this proposal experience any which way. And so I'm coming into this and it's mobile optimized. So if they're on an iPad or an iPhone, it's obviously going to be pared down. But like I said, we're taking that client experience first and then putting in our letter of engagement. Okay. So what we found with Ignition is when we use mediums like video, people convert faster. Why? Because people don't read anymore.
So true. So true.
So, like, this would pop up. Now, this is just our campaign video. I'm just gonna like okay. So you could have like a super branded video and pay some bucks for it if you want, and that would be great. So if you're like, "Jenny, I don't know, you can put me in front of a camera." I'm like, "Well, then have something creative." Okay? But, I'm a big fan of Loom, and I would
Yes.
create right? So, like, maybe more for Christine and our scope, like, we're doing some higher value clients, I'll do a customized Loom video for them. Be like, "Hey,
Yeah.
Mr. Smith," right? But if I'm doing, like, 500 tax returns, I'm not gonna do 500 individual videos. Are you kidding me? No. We're all about efficiency. So I will speak to that segment of, let's say, 500, whether it's S corp, C corp, 1040, whatever, like, obviously, there'd be different videos and proposals, but then I'll put that there. That is the money maker. Mhm. It's the money maker. So, that's the one that really gets your customers to understand what they're looking at, and I'll usually say something, "Okay, Mr. Smith, like, go through the little buttons at the bottom, and, we'll walk through it." Big thing I find is brochures. So this is another medium. So this is a PDF, and if you're like, "Jenny, can't do this," "Oh, I don't have a brochure." That's okay, we'll create one for you. Uh-huh.
I love it.
And it's super simple for you to keep updated for free in Canva. Just
I
saying.
love it.
Um, but what I love about this is because this is a chance for you to, maybe talk about yourself, but if you're not so, narcissistic in a way, maybe you want to talk about your team, your accolades, your favorite cupcake recipe, I don't know. Testimonials, customer
Yes.
testimonials are great.
This is a big difference maker.
Mhm.
Like
Mhm.
to your point, I
Mhm.
know that you love cupcakes, but even just
Mhm.
sharing the fact, like a little bit more personal detail about yourself, your team,
Yeah.
that really makes this whole process so much more personal. Like when you talked about earlier,
Yes.
just slapping somebody in the face with a Word document, especially because our engagement letters are so long, it's
Yeah.
so cold. Like
It
there's just this
is.
emotionless process versus really reiterating to them like in a warm way, this is who we are, and
Yeah.
why we want you to love us and value your relationship with us.
Yeah, and let's face it, this is a relationship and like financials and like tax is so personal.
It
right? They
is.
need like sometimes there's some deep dark stuff that happens, right? And I don't know about you all, but I have seen so much financial therapy in my day with my clientele. I don't know, there needs to be a designation for that, I have no idea. But, it's just, like, we are giving them so much awkwardness to divulge to us, and so
Yeah.
trust and being accepting and, like, your brand, like, obviously, this is Growth Accounting's brand. My brand is more detailed, so it's very purple and blue, and will match your brand to what your logo is and things like that. So don't think like, oh, I don't like the coloring. No, no, no. The other thing that's really important, Christine, is like, especially in this like digital era, right, of social selling, um, we're not always able to meet face to face. Like
Right.
you could be in a completely different state or province than like who you're going to engage with. You're probably not going to hop on a plane to have them sign a piece of paper. So, what's really important in these aspects is like keeping your tone of voice, your brand forward facing with them as they go
Yes.
through the decision making journey. If you give them a Word document, that is not your brand, that is Microsoft's. Okay. And
Yeah.
I'm saying Microsoft's okay. I mean, I use it in my firm for standard operating procedures, um, things like that. But like when it comes to you and your brand and selling, Word got no place for that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming your experience is similar, but implementing something like this that just gives a more personal,
Yes.
like warm, for lack of better
Yep.
explanation, experience to potential clients and existing clients both. I really feel like that helps you to drive your value, which means that we can
Yes.
charge more than maybe the competitor down the road because you are offering your clients a different level of experience and a different level of access and communication with you than possibly your competitors are.
Exactly, right? It's just setting it the process up right. You're, attracting your ideal client and everything of the like. So the next thing they get options to do is to select up to 3 options. It could be 2 options, it could be 1 option. There's different methodologies that are out there. Obviously, if you haven't heard of value pricing, you probably did today. Like there's like different types of agreements, right? So this is actually Logan Graff's I think it says 2023 tax template. So we actually have our customers that are like, this is how I quote on business. Can you share it with my friends? I'm like, yeah. So like if you don't know how to quote on business, because I believe me, I get it. Just it's okay. And there's no shame in this. I've come from the era of like one tax return or monthly bookkeeping. Like I've learned
Yeah,
I have to really articulate what I'm doing in order to protect my scope and my value. So, like, if you aren't sure or comfortable how to do that, you can get started in our product. You can, in fact, start a free trial and like look at our templates. And like these are from customers like Don Brolin, Ryan Lozanis, Eric Green, Marcus Dillon, myself. Like there's so many people that have contributed to this, and we don't care if you use what we got. Like there's more than enough work in this world.
there is. There's actually not enough of us to service all of the work that there
Yeah,
is, which is even more reason why we should be getting paid what we're worth to do it. And you
exactly.
mentioned this yesterday too, which I think is a huge deal to mention, that you actually have suggestive pricing
Yeah,
for
yeah.
services.
Yeah, exactly. So, like, if you're not sure what to charge, like, we have the pricing in these templates. And like a big spoiler alert here, I'm just getting it now. Some of you might be like, hey, I really don't know how to charge for my services. And I know we're like to a small select group, so I probably won't get my hand slapped too much for sharing this with you. But let me get this link and I'll try and like share it with everyone here. I did just the host and panelists last time. It was so hilarious. Oh, shoot. Whoever's on the back end, if you can just share this link with the global group here. So, like, if you click on that link and fill that form out, we'll give you the US pricing benchmark study. And that is how do you compare with your peers that are charging for tax returns,
Oh,
bookkeeping?
that's
Yeah,
awesome. Yeah,
it's like,
Matt, if you can share that out to everybody.
that'd be
This
great.
is
Yeah,
something I see this question get asked all the time is, what
yes,
are you charging? How do I
yes.
charge for this?
Yep. Yeah, so we did the hard work for you.
Thank you.
So have a look at it, like get it, fill out the form, you'll get it emailed to you, or is it automatically downloaded? I can't remember. but that will also give you an idea of how to charge for your services. But like I said, we have the templates and product that you can easily go to. So like in this case, let's say, and we can recommend them too, which I think is kind of neat. You see it at Starbucks. You see them. They're
Yeah,
recommended. Okay, so let's just say, and Logan, I think this is his third or fourth year in practice, and he's cranking out some serious cash. And this is actually for his 1040. It's $1,600. I couldn't believe it. And so, like, you can see the differences here of what he's offering. Like, IRS notice assistance would be different than compliance. Like, compliance is
I
like your bare
love
bones,
this.
right? It's like, we're just going to do your tax return. That's really what this is. And
Yeah,
he's making them feel a little bit good by giving them access to his newsletter subscription, which actually
sure.
is really good. So it's like, that's what you'll get. But you get what you get and you don't get upset. But if it's like, "Hey, Jenny, you're asking me for document storage and you got that notice from the IRS. That's not in this package. That's actually this one. So you need to select this one." And vice versa, $3,100. I know some of you are like, well, think of it from tax planning. Think about how
Yes.
many of us are giving away this tax planning for free. Can you please stop doing that?
Yeah, stop doing that, especially because, you mentioned the integration with ProConnect. We just saw the
Yeah,
beautiful tax advisor software from Kevin,
yeah,
which makes it really such an easy, seamless process for us. Don't give
yeah.
that away for free. That
Don't, don't,
value is
don't.
humongous.
Yeah, and think of all the years in education and the constant education you have to do to stay up to
Yes.
date on all this stuff. It may be simple for you now, but look at why it's simple now, right? And just because you have the tools to do it, look at all the education you did to do that. And there is value on that. So let's just say I'm more about the collaboration side. And then what happens here is it goes to the services. So like what you saw here, I'm just going to bounce back to options for a second. This was sort of like the intro, for lack of a better word. Okay. Those are your
Yeah.
options. And then the devil's in the details, right? So now it's going to be like, okay, this is where you really need to script out exactly what you're doing so that when Jenny comes back to you and says, why isn't my tax planning done? You could say, well, that's actually not in this one. You didn't pay for tax planning, right? And
Yeah.
that's where we need to start covering our tuchus, right?
Yep.
Is the first thing I want everyone to walk away today is we're going to stop the bleeding. We're going to get paid. And you can do that with Ignition in like less than a week. Just, I know you got stuff going on and stuff like that. And you're probably telling me you don't have time. I'm telling you do have time because you're just reallocating and reclassifying that time to stuff that doesn't matter.
Yeah,
So
for
just
sure.
make the decision to stop. And I get to tell you that because that's what I had to do. And I was able to do it. We just need to you just need to reclassify. Just like there's a coding error in QuickBooks Online and a bunch of stuff goes to the wrong expense account, reclassify it, right? It's time for you to start reclassifying your time.
I
So
think
here,
this is such the
yeah,
perfect time of year to do it too, because
yes,
clients are expecting to hear from us at the beginning of tax season. They're
yep,
expecting to see those re-engagement letters. Like they know
mm-hmm,
that this is coming. So this is
yeah,
an opportunity to just say, you know what, we're going to do it a little bit differently this year. You can send out your engagement letters in mass, a little bit more personalized than
yep,
you did last year, and just set the expectation it's a new year,
yes.
new tax returns, and we're just gonna kinda change it up.
Yeah, exactly. And my friend Dawn has done quite a bit of a revelation and change in her program. She was worried at first she was going to lose clients, and she lost the right ones. Let's put it that way.
Exactly, exactly.
And now she's like, money in the bank account, things are streamlined. The engagement letters go out 3, 4 months in advance. And then she has her cutoff point. Like we have auto expiring now in our proposals so
Love
that
that.
if right. And it just came live, which is so cool. I was so
I love
excited that
that.
the
We were
development
just
team did.
talking about that in our practice just this
Right.
week, actually, that there
Yeah.
needs to be some type of language because
Oh
there's
yeah.
no auto
I'll show it to you.
expiration
Yeah.
feature
If we have time, I'll show it to you, but it's super, super easy. So yeah, because we don't want to like if the client didn't sign up and then all of a sudden it's like the
a
ninth
year
hour,
later.
right? And or
It
yeah, or it's like
happens.
the tax deadline and then they sign the engagement. You're
Yeah.
shoot, you're you know what I mean? So anywho, these are the devils in the details, okay? And then pricing. Jenny, I didn't know you were going to charge me for this. You know what? Baloney. Because you looked at this and it says right off the bat, build on acceptance is $1,000. And then there's like the tax advisory, right? And all this stuff. We also have, I call it the candy bar approach. When you're really hungry and you're at the grocery store and you see the chocolate bars,
Yeah.
And then you pick one up and you put it on the checkout. Yeah. So those are called add-ons, right? There's a reason why there's some really delicious overpriced candy there. So we can also give you that candy bar approach as well by doing add-ons. So if you had something like reasonable compensation for, obviously it's not for this scope, but
Sure.
like something else, or maybe it's bookkeeping, or I don't know, something, you can bump up your revenue. Remember that it was part of that 24% increase in 12 months?
Yes.
Think about doing those little things where
Yep.
you can upsell your services. Because the worst thing for your customers to say to you is, I didn't know you did that. That's because you didn't do a good enough job telling them. But
Telling them.
right? Exactly. And honestly, that's not a right now. That's like implement Ignition, get your payments in, start collecting on your aged AR when we get that live, and send out some really cool proposals, right? So I would say that's a long-term game. And then payments. So this is the payment wall. I don't want to put my credit card information in for like a couple of grand and give it to Logan. So I didn't enable it. But like you can force this to be like, they can't get to your engagement letter until they put in their credit card information or
Yeah.
ACH information. Now, some of you are going to say to me, I don't like merchant fees. Guess what? Neither do I. I actually don't like them at all. So I enable the surcharging feature. Now, depending on your state, for any Canadians that may be listening, I'm not sure, but sometimes you guys are cool and you want to listen to me like with the US tax. That's awesome. Province, you can surcharge back. Okay. So some of you might not have a comfort level or you may have a legal requirement not to, but that's a nice way where you're not eating those merchant fees as well. And then if something ever happens to that credit card or ACH, we know things expire. We
Sure.
know cash flow jumps in the middle of the night, especially if a tuition bill is due for a kid or something. Like our app will actually go to your customer and say, in a nice way, payment failed. You'll also get notified as well. And there's been many instances in my firm where I'll get a text message from a client going, I am so sorry. I've corrected the issue. I'd be like, what? And no
And
idea.
you haven't, yeah, you haven't even noticed yet. That's so
Haven't
great.
noticed. So, like, that's worth money, right?
Yes.
And yeah, if there's a credit card that's coming up that's expiring for reoccurring work like payroll, bookkeeping, advisory, you'll get notified. The customer will get notified. You no longer have to take in credit card information. Please don't do that. It's not good for your E&O insurance.
Yeah.
Um, all of that is behind a wall where you don't get to see it. Are you going to figure out their ACH information if you're doing their bookkeeping? Probably. But like their credit card information, that's all done to the side. So it's really nice. Now, this is the legalese. This is a pretty basic letter of engagement. Now, if you don't have one, we have one. This is it. But I would strongly, 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 strongly recommend you go to your errors and omissions carrier and get the 1720 page document and upload it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Now, some of you might be saying, well, Jenny, I don't just do tax, I do advisory, blah, 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 blah. I don't care how many engagement letters you have. You can have 17. We'll upload 17 of them. And then you just pick which one. And so, yeah, I accept the billing terms. See, they can't, they have to accept. Okay. And then Jenny, more, boom. And so what happens from here is that, boom, next steps. Here's my little face in my home
Oh, I
office, by the way.
love this. This
Yeah,
is
so I wanted to show you,
so
like, you could have a
amazing.
super polished video, like, if you want, or you could do a simple Loom like this, like, "Hey, Mr. Smith, cool, yay." Because, like, sometimes if they're cranking out a couple grand for something, they want homework, they wanna act on it right away. It's like, "What can I
Yeah.
do right now?" You do not wanna have buyer's remorse, right? So, like, in this case, it could be schedule your first meeting, maybe it's an onboarding call. If some of you are using Smart Vault, it might be, use the link. You can hyperlink here to upload a bunch of documents to Smart Vault. Power of attorney, haha, 2848. That's kind of important. Sign that,
Amazing.
and stuff like that. So, like, these are like the immediate next steps. Now, do you have to do this? No. Do you have to do a video? No. You know, I'm just saying that these are the things that cause the 24% annual revenue increase. So
For
just gonna
sure.
pause for a second because I have been chatting so much, Christine.
Well, and we're basically at
Yeah,
time too. So
yeah.
I want to just give everybody a chance. If you have any questions that you want Jenny to answer for you, please make sure that you pop them into that Q&A box. Do you have another polling question before we forget too?
Yeah, let's go ahead and launch all the polling questions if we're
Okay.
okay with that.
Yeah,
So just in
let's
the
do it.
back end, let's do it. And then, like, this is just basically what ignition looks like from a user standpoint. So, yeah, I mean, I'd love to know how we can help you a bit more. I mean, we have tons of resources here at Ignition. Like I said, it's an app for 10 years. I've been with Ignition for 4 now and a customer since 2016. And this really is the app that kickstarts everything for my firm. There's so much here. It's so easy within like a number of seconds to easily get a proposal out the door. So I can choose a template really quickly. So let's say proposal templates, BOI, maybe not. Let's go future firm. Okay, I'm going to select that. It's slow here because it's good old Canadian internet, folks. Bear with me. Okay, and then it's just so simple to get the engagement letter right out with it. And you can do bulk engagement. So if you have 500 engagement letters to get out the door, do all 500 of them at once. Now,
Yeah,
make sure they're right before you send them out. But here's your auto expire. I auto expire in 14 days. Jenny's Cupcakes.
love that. And I think, importantly, because you and I talked about this yesterday, like if this is something that's really easy for everybody to implement before tax season, there's not a huge long implementation process. And to
Yep.
your point, like you can do a lot of the optimization and customization
Yep.
later on if you really
100%.
just want to improve your cash flow, get
Yep.
paid faster from your clients, and not spend all this time on billing in the middle of tax season. This is something that you can implement right away.
100%, right? Exactly. And then like this is just it. Here's our terms. If you have more than one terms, that's fine. We work with not NATP and NAEA presentation. Now I'm just going to be kind of lazy here and not get anything out there, but like oh, I guess I need to have the see, this is why I'm not in sales. But it's really simple to get it out the door and to make a proposal really clean and crisp as well. So I think there's just one more polling question. And yeah, it's been a
Well,
pleasure.
we yeah, thank you. While we pull that up, we do have one quick question. Are
Sure.
there ACH fees? So if a client is paying
Yes.
via ACH, there's ACH fees.
Yeah, it's really nominal though. I think it's like it depends on the volume, but it's like less than $5 and it depends like it doesn't matter what the value is. Like it could be even
Awesome.
lower than that depending on which subscription model you get. So yeah, super easy and I actually have a lot of ACH clients and I just love it.
Perfect. Matt, if
Yeah.
there's one more polling question, let's just pull up that last polling question for everybody. And just a reminder for everyone, if you are looking for CPE, we will get those CPE certificates out for you. Thank you for being here, especially those of you who have been with us since we started earlier this afternoon. Jenny, thank you so much for your time.
Yeah.
This is amazing. And we will get the recording out to everyone, the slides out to everyone. And Jenny shared her LinkedIn profile as well. So if you are interested in connecting with her and following up with more questions, please do so.
Awesome. And I just put a free trial link in there too. So feel free to leverage that if you want. But yeah, reach out. It's been a pleasure speaking to you. Everyone have a great day.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you all for being here this afternoon. Have a great day.
Cheers. Bye.